The right questions. Why? Okay, I gotta stop being so extremely shaky. The right questions. Are you okay? How are you today? Um, why you smile like that? Um, you name it. What? Again, she never knows. Um, the right questions. We're in a conversation about safe places. I think safe spaces. I don't know. I've actually, it's been a few days and I've forgotten the full scope of the actual way I worded it. But we're in a conversation about safety, basically in safe spaces, and cultivating, building safe spaces for healthy relationship, that be marital or parent to child in this sense, familial, if you will. And one of the quickest ways to improve the culture of a relationship, the culture of a space, a home, XYZ, is to ask the right questions. And there are times when it's not even necessarily about the answer per se. Sometimes the question will make the answer a little different. And sometimes when a person is not doing the best, sometimes having someone to ask, "Are you okay?" actually makes the person feel a little better. It's just a thing. I think we can all attest to it at some point because there are points where people don't feel like people care. And it is very easy to just go, 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 go. Whether that be with your spouse or, in the flow of the day with children, or even, I mean, if we can take it as far as like mothers, fathers, aunties, uncles, nieces, nephews, grandparents, all friends, XYZ. You can get in the flow of things and you never stop to ask, how are you doing? And like really sit and really mean it. I know there's a knee-jerk way in certain, I mean, as far as we know it, like people just be like, how you doing? And it really is just another way to say, hey, it ain't really asking how you doing. It's just, hey, how you doing? It's just, hey, how you doing? It's quick and it's not meant to draw out anything, but there's a realm of intentionality that you do have to take, especially again if we're dealing with marriage and parenting and all that stuff. You got to craft out and construct some space to have healthy dialogue and conversation around internal woes or wins. Honestly, it doesn't always have to be a woe; it can be a win. But sometimes wins can feel like woes if they're not able to be shared and expressed adequately. And so, what should be a win, placed in the hands of the wrong circle or whatever, or a careless group, will make the person feel worse because nobody is there to help them celebrate their win or cares about their win, XYZ. So stuff like that happens. This is especially true. Let's go to marital route. There are points where the right questions can change the trajectory. Sure, I pronounced that wrong, but it's okay. Of a day. Simply asking, hey, what's up? You good? Are you feeling okay? Are you da 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 da? Are you up to this XYZ? Little stuff, little stuff. And I can personally admit I'm not always the best for it, because the days just be like sometimes, or it'd be so much going on because again, 3 children, side, and but I'm not always the I don't think I'm always the best to just like pull up and be like, "Are you good?" Sometimes I don't know. I don't know. She can attest better than I can. Hey man, well, praise the Lord. There's that. Um, this video is gonna end quick. Um, Jesus, but no. Yeah, I'm not always the best to pull up and I'll ask her if she's okay every so often. I think, are you good? But the example of like, are you up to this? I'm usually never. I almost never gonna ask that. I just don't think to, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I just don't think. I don't even know why I just came up in this because I don't even think to ask that. I'm pretty sure I'm getting corrected and rebuked in the middle of this. So, yeah, like, are you up to this today? Do you even feel like, I know you do this every day. Do you feel like doing this particular task today? Do you need me to get it? Stuff like that. Yeah, I'm getting gotten in real time. It's okay. Um, it is, it's a very real thing. Cause that helps, again, we're talking about building out a safe space. Sometimes people don't feel like they're safe enough to, people aren't used to resting. I can attest to, this one. Not really. She don't like to sit still for one, but it's just it'd be too much going on. Even if it's not too much. But at the same token, there's also a thing in her that has been kind of, I don't know if it was built in per se or if it was taught in by different things that you're gonna have to do a lot of work all the time. And it's not saying work is bad, but there's a realm of restlessness that can sometimes be present that is not good. Glory to God. You stop me whenever. You just hit me on the arm. But and that is a thing, and my awareness of that should, it doesn't always inform, but it should inform at times certain realms of, hey, do you need help? Do you need this? Do you need that? Or do you, again, are you up to this today? Do you have the bandwidth for it today? Do you have the mental capacity to even handle this right now? XYZ. And like that is a big piece of building out a safe space for your spouse, especially. You can just ask. Again, these are simple questions, and sometimes connected to, I mean, a small task at the end of the day. If you want to do that route of it, and some of it just opens up conversation. The "Are you okay?" thing. Are you doing all right? Do you need to talk? Do you want to talk? Is there anything on your heart? Is there anything you've been struggling with? You've been wrestling with? Da 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 da. I noticed you were a little bit irritable. What's going on? I noticed you've been quiet. What's going on? XYZ. This type of stuff matters. Again, if you're going to make it safe to express feelings, safe to be not as, I don't know if I want to say robotic or robotically okay. Just not as whatever. Y'all can fill in the blank there. I don't have the word per se. I'm not gonna try to pretend I have the word. I don't really know. Robotically functional, I guess, is the word I'm after, where the person is just expected to go. And I will do this task. I will do that. It's like it just isn't. It's not. it's not humanly even accurate to try to expect that, or you know, oh, um, or try to yeah, expect that. I don't know the other word I'm looking for. So, um, so the ins and outs of that. Um, Again, you just got to ask the right questions. So I would assess, what types of questions you've been asking, if any, really, and not just, and you got to, like, cause we ask questions, but sometimes we ask questions so reactively and sometimes in harshness. So we'll people get to a boiling point and it's like, well, what you saying that for? Why you saying it like that? And it's like, well, bro, sis, if you had asked like just a couple of hours ago, are you okay? You probably would have avoided this whole ordeal because you completely ignored the twist in tone earlier. It was slight turn. It wasn't even directed at you. It was just a slight. But this comes with knowing um, who you've come into a relationship with, and again, if you are in the process of courting and all that stuff, y'all still say courting, but in the engagement process and all that stuff, coating, but I'm sorry. Michael said go together the other day. So anyway, but that's so stupid to me. Um, Dang, I lost my train of thought. Shoot. If you're in the process of engagement, it helps to start this now. Um, Healthy dialogue. Again, it's very important. In general, like if you're relationship building, no matter what, this can work in friendships. It works no matter what you're doing. Just asking the right questions. You won't know unless you ask. And now I understand for us that have prophetic leanings, sometimes we know without asking, but sometimes knowing without asking still doesn't open up human to human conversation. It just opens up you having knowledge of what's going on, and depending on what you do with that, it still could mean nothing. Because there are multiple there are multiple times I have known very specifically what was going on with her. I just say nothing. I was just like, well, I don't know what I was doing. I don't even know. You can pick up on things and stuff like that, and you can just be observant too. You don't have to be prophetic per se to do that. There's some points where you can do it by observation, but there are some points where if you do have like spiritual gifting and you are a little spiritually sensitive, and God will talk to you about your significant other, your spouse, your child, and what they're feeling, what they're going through. But I think we don't know what to do with that all the time. And not to make this long and turn it into a what to do with Revelation type of deal, but I'm not gonna do but so much. Revelation isn't just given for the sake of having it. It's given for the sake of actually adjusting and positioning. So if God is giving you revelation on, let's say I know by way of revelation something is wrong with her, like a specific thing. One, pray, obviously, that's given. Pray, but you can ask God for wisdom on the next move. He might tell you do this, say this, X, Y, Z. More than likely, if he's already done that much, he'll probably give you wisdom on what to do. And then, or he'll have already given you a framework. Just go talk to them, basically, and you'll open up conversations so they can express how they feel. This is what she is feeling, but you've got to leave, because I can know what she's feeling, and maybe God won't reveal the why, maybe all the time. It'll be a thing where you still gotta have the conversation. Revel Divine revelation doesn't replace the need for like human to human conversation. It actually should inform it and or encourage it. In a lot of cases, God is not talking to people and then pulling them out of human interaction. Yeah. And so that's not what's going on. Not there are certain things God will remove you from certain toxic or harmful situations. But it's not one of those things where, especially with your spouse, he's just gonna talk to you so you can know and do nothing. No. So again, even in the engagement stage, dating stage, whatever, courting and going together and going out, you still got to. I would encourage you pray and ask God to give you revelation at different points and just help you to navigate wisely through conversations, through particular questions. And then just asking for wisdom. I know I say similar stuff all the time, but literally asking for wisdom. Like, there is certain stuff that you will say in conversation. I'm a witness, and I don't think it just comes from me being a prophet, but I literally think it comes from being spirit led in general, right? And so you can say something in conversation that will like flip something on in someone, and it'll like directly connect something that's going on in their brain, and it'll give them an answer without you even fully knowing it sometimes. And don't you wake up, boy. Not right now. Jesus. But we have a guest star tonight. He's sleeping on the couch for some reason. But yeah, so that'll happen, and that has happened before. And it happened again. Certain stuff happened even before we got together. That kind of highlighted the fact that I had some safety to me concerning her. So you know what I mean. You just gotta you're the safest for your spouse, specifically your future spouse, and anybody. I'll deal with the children piece in a second. But you're the safest person for the people that are called to you and you're called to when you're inside of God's will, when you're listening to him, when you're communing with him, when you are endeavoring to move in wisdom as he has spoken and move based upon his instructions, and do only what you've been told to do by him. You know what I mean? You are safe at that point. You are the safest person to be around. All right. And that really has ring true even in our case. There is no, I am woo, a running me, a disobedient me, a whatever outside of that space me is a completely unsafe person. And again, it's not just me, it's just anybody, especially if you are confessing follower of Christ, child of God. That stuff gets dangerous real quick, and you try not to obey the legalities of the kingdom that you say that you are a part of. It's dangerous, dog. So it just accounts for that. There have been multiple times, just on the end of questions, and I'm going to the children piece in a second. I have said I'll you hit your moments and your weird days, and again she goes and goes sometimes too, to the point where I'm just like, do you even you don't notice I'm not all right now, do you? And so I'm like, Just don't even notice. And then she'll randomly hit me with that, you good? And I can't even do that at that point sometimes. I'll just smile and I'll be good at that point, pretty much. Because that'll be my main. Somehow, whatever was wrong, I don't know. It's sometimes it's just knowing someone cares. And sometimes you can feel like it's not necessarily the truth, but sometimes you can feel like nobody cares and nobody is concerned and nobody is noticing or watching you. One, my first piece is the eyes of Yahweh are in every place, beholding both the good and the evil. So he's watching. He's got his eye on you. That's first. So even before human validation of being seen, you are seen by God. But there are people, I believe, that are in your corner, no matter how lonely it does feel. You've got you've got intercessors you may not know of. I believe. I think God will raise up people that will pray and that will care and that will be a realm of support in some way, shape, or form, if you are lacking that. And so, amen, take that and just rest in that and just, God gonna do that. But especially if you've been in that spot as well. There is help, there is support, there is intercessors, prayer warriors, if you will, that God is dispatching on your behalf, and on the behalf of your family, your spouse and your future spouse, if it's your future spouse, your children, all of that. God's going to make sure that you are fully staffed in every way that you need to be for the days ahead. And that includes people. It includes the right people, the right community, and or even if they're a quote unquote silent community, again, God will have people in Singapore praying for you in St. Louis. Like it doesn't it works like that. He will wake people up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. and speak, whisper names and just be like, Christina Jackson, she going through her husband, and somebody over there gonna be praying, Father, right now, Father Christina Jackson, you know, and it's gonna be what's gonna be, and he'll do it. He'll do it. And so wanted to drop that. If we're gonna dive into this even more, scripture even for that, the age old Ephesians 5, husbands love your wives as Christ loved the church, and then wives respect your husbands. There's safety in that instruction, because there's a realm of that respect and love, and even the trust that is built in and of that, and what that you gotta realize what husbands, what Jesus did, is doing even for the church, right? And so the type of the only reason the church has a hard time trusting Jesus, is because of faulty members of the church. Never mind, that's a whole nother conversation. Anyways, it is. I'm sorry. I can't. I have to do it. Jesus has never proven himself to be untrustworthy. And like everything that was done in obedience to the Father was done. And so there is no reason not to, in truth. And so the only realm of doubt is coming either from inside of the camp and how poorly people are treated, or poorly people are representing, or it's coming from outside of the camp and naysayers and and demonic chatter or whatever the case may be, right? But it has nothing to do with how Christ has actually loved the church. It has nothing to do with that. So in that same manner, like if you're gonna represent Christ in the way that you love your wife, so there should be no cause for anything that would you know what I mean. But yeah, I'm sorry. That was a side note. I'm trying to pull out of it, and so I actually pull out very quick, and I'm probably gonna end up right back in it in a second because I try to pull out of it real quick. But there is no cause for an actual lack of trust. There is no reason that we shouldn't be able to trust the Lord, you know, and if that is the example that husbands are to follow, then, you know what I mean? And likewise, that inspires the church to follow Jesus. It actually, and obey the commands of God through him, and you know, trust in the words and the teachings, and follow the direction of, like, you can see the parallel why the scriptures lay it out like that, because it literally is that, right? And so if, you know, you get asked to go do X, Y, Z, and the third, well, Lord, you ain't failed me yet, so guess I'm gonna do it. You know, get right, church, and let's go on, as they say. But it really is that. And so, yeah, there's safety in that. That's Ephesians 5. I just encourage you reading the whole of Ephesians 5, actually. But I think that's the lower end of Ephesians 5, like in the 20s. It's on my screen, but I can't really get to it because of the way the setup is. So I'm sure I won't press the right button. But if you scoop on over to Ephesians 6, we hear the, you know, children obey your parents, but we also hear, and I'm not harping on that right now, but I mean, if you got your kiddos watching, what you saying, obey your mama and daddy. Please do. Amen. But the thing I'm going to harp on right now for us parents is to not provoke our children to wrath. This, I believe, speaks to the safety or the safe space for the children. This being safe spaces, this is not a conversation about, I mean, I guess it is about actual physical environment, but I'm also speaking to the safety of a child to express emotions, to grow in understanding their own emotions. Sometimes we as parents can be still emotionally underdeveloped and immature and don't understand the ins and outs of how to navigate our own stuff. And so though we know error is error, sometimes we will perpetuate error on the children, and in the heat of moments, right, we'll perpetuate not asking the right questions. That's really what the harp on is right now. Not asking the right questions. Hey, why are you doing this? What's wrong? Do you know what's wrong? Can you let me know what you're feeling? Do you know, or can you, like, how, you know, just different questions to see if what I've learned is that children are very, very much more intelligent than we like to give them credit for. And they'll express it the best way that they know how to express it if they are in a spot to do so. And it doesn't hurt to ask your child, are you okay? Do you feel okay? Do you, are you sad? Is there something you want to talk about? Now, that's a dangerous one because I'm sure there's always something to talk about. If I've learned anything, and we've learned anything, there's always something to talk about, just about. But that's a good thing because you want to become a safe space for conversation so that dangerous conversations or potentially dangerous situations don't go to friends before they go to you. Especially if you have smaller children like we do. I think one of my goals specifically is to make sure that, especially my oldest, glory to God, can ensure that she knows she can talk to dear old dad, and navigate certain realms of conversation, no matter what, so that, and because her personality is already so, so if she's about to or expecting to get into something, that there's a realm of things where she knows or she feels like she can at least like let me in on something, before she just goes wilding or doing, or taking some type of risk. That's my goal, really, to build that type of space out. See, this particular conversation isn't coming from any, like, we're still in the process of some of this stuff. As you saw at the beginning, I'm getting corrected in the middle of the video, in the beginning. So it's like, this is stuff we're still working on building out, but that's my goals, what I'm working towards, as trying to communicate with her especially, but all of them. But little big head over there ain't doing too much. He's talking, but he's not talking. But I try to make sure I'm a safe space, because again, the future calls for, I think, that safety net, and I want to be able to, personally, I do want to be able to catch her before she falls too deep into something, and I want her to know she can talk, and you're not going to be particularly reprimanded for talking. Obviously, I'm a lecture, so, but you're not going to be knocked upside the head just for talking, and again, the goal is safety. The goal is safety, them knowing that they're in a safe space, them actually being in a safe space, right, to express emotionally and to even grow spiritually. There, questions and stuff. She, again, the oldest, especially right now, she'll randomly pop up in questions. She asked me something about baptism the other week, and just different questions. And again, my being in ministry, everything. Yeah, I hate the term sometimes, of like being in ministry, because it always refers to church activities, but it's not the whole of ministry, because I feel like life is ministry. But I get the distinctifiers as we know them. But even being called to preaching ministry and discipleship ministry, in that particular regard, I will disciple and pastor and all that stuff. But it doesn't really, but like, I can do all that, and if I mismanage making disciples out of these three, I'm pretty much a failure at the end of the day. And so that's never been my, I didn't ask for children necessarily to mismanage them and mishandle them, and not train them up in the way they should go. So I want to make sure that they know whose son I am, and whose daughters slash son they are to become in the days to come. And like, that's been the thing. That's really in my heart. If I'm a son and your mama a daughter, then please understand, there's an inheritance this family has in the spirit. and I want y'all to grab onto that too. So not necessarily forcing them into any decision. I know that they still have a decision to make at the end of the day. But you're my child, so there's a realm of this you're gonna come into knowing, at least the decision at hand, and so yeah, making sure, but still making sure they feel safe, making sure they feel seen, heard. Praise God, because again, there's a lot of ins and outs. Again, we could probably 50-parter this if we wanted to, because the amount of intentionality, again, even with, again, if you know the situation, other situations of past days, even the intentionality with being present and in conversation and just trying to ask questions and making sure that if they want to talk, they can talk, or if they want to talk, they can talk, and not cutting them off so much, even if I'm a little tired or a little, a little overwhelmed. I try to make sure that I still give some semblance of listening, because I know it makes them feel heard and seen, and that's just one of the things. Everybody doesn't get that. Everybody didn't always get that as children, and that's just one of those things where 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 I'm striving, and I think we're striving really to get it right at the end of the day. We don't want them feeling any type of way. We don't want to train up children that have to heal from us, basically, and that is one of the that's one of the main things. We don't want to have children that have to eventually heal from the way we parented. They have to heal from the way we responded to them. They have to heal from how inattentive or irritable or ill-tempered or whatever we were with them. That's something we definitely do not want. We want the testimony to ring true, that they know that they were loved and are loved and are seen, and they can feel that, and they know that and that we do have time for them, and we do have space in our day for them, not just per se. And I think the temptation of any parent is, well, I spend my time trying to take care of them, and yes, that is true, and eventually, I mean, you do grow up and you understand the ins and outs of that, but there is still some other intentionality that has to be taken, because you can clothe them, bathe them, feed them, and then they still feel like you didn't give them the time of day. And so it has to be, again, it's just an intentional realm of presentness, present activity. And that stuff can be small, and maybe I'll pull into the next. We'll pull into the next video on that one, but because it's more so about the right questions. But that can be small. It really can. And I'll pull into the questions round because there's another end of that I want to tackle, but I'm not going to do it in this one. You can simply, one of the, and I know people advise against this in some cases or whatever. You don't give it to get, you don't ask them what they want, but I mean, Sometimes you just ask them what they want. What do you want to do? What do you have on your mind today? What you want to do? How you want to move about the day a little bit. But what we like to eat over here. So what you want to eat? It's always going to be one of 2 to 3 answers. So it's nothing to that. Just to have them sit down and have some semblance of joy. What do you want to watch? Now, with 3 different children, that is a task. Praise our God. Getting them on one accord is a miracle. It happens ever so often. However, just what do you want to watch? Sometimes one is more attentive to the TV than the others. And so asking that one may do it. And then the younger 2 can usually be on more of one accord than all 3 for whatever reason. One of them at some point is always contrary, but there's one that is more contrary than all the others, no matter what the time of day is. And so we do our best to, and I really try to specifically ask, and I still try to keep it in a range of things. Though we don't. You can agree, disagree if you do, but we don't necessarily let them just watch anything, or we try not to. There's a they know too, though. At this point, they know, and they know where they can get away with watching it at, and who they can get away with watching it with. But there's a certain realm of things we just don't let them mess with. And obviously to that, there has to be some realm of explanation. I don't think they've ever really asked why, or maybe they have to you.
I mean, we've explained it.
I mean, yeah. Just making sure they know like the ins and outs of why we don't do this, or why we're not watching this, or if you're watching it, why this is not what we do, and we necessarily subscribe to as believers. While it might be a present reality that this is stuff that people do, this is not something that we do. XYZ. So, you're barely gonna get a kid show without magic. You're barely gonna, and you can say what you want. Like I said, you can agree to disagree, but like slippery slopes. Praise God. Now, I watched Harry Potter and all the ins and outs of everything. But I was drawn to supernatural things, and I've since understood that that's just because of my leanings as a prophetic child, and so I was always drawn to supernatural leanings and things like that. It just was what it was. So anything that was, and that's kind of how the oldest one is, to the point where it made me, when it clicked, I said, oh. Because she loves a magic something. I just like, and it clicked one day. It was recent. It was in the last, probably this year, when it clicked, since we've been here. And I think that I believe that the Father made it finally make sense. Like, oh, she's supernaturally leaning already, so where she's very interested in like that stuff, and so, and seeing like stuff like that, and so so where I pulled into like stuff like Superbook and stuff, because I hadn't really watched it. I didn't actually watch a lot of, I don't think I watched a lot of Bible shows as a kid, like, or stuff like that. So that's something I don't think I did. I watched a lot of church tapes, but that's all it is. Just to watch church tapes. I used to watch choir anniversary recordings all the time. I just sit there and keep playing it on the VHS, just rewind, and watch my granny do her dance across the screen, and listen to the people sing. We marching in. I will bless That was before my time. That was the year before I joined the gospel choir. But I will bless the Lord at all times, for He's good. Dum 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 dum. Okay, you hear me? He's good, so good. You're good. Each and every day of my life, I'll bless the Lord, for He's good. Okay, y'all don't know about that. That's all right. It's okay. That's good. I will bless the Lord. I will bless the Lord. I will bless the Lord. Okay. Anyway, and so that's all I did. So that was about the closest thing I got to, I think, a Bible show of any kind. Other than that, I was watching Arthur and all the Nine, all that stuff, and Between the Lions, hey, Elabosia, and Reading Rainbow.
You ever watch VeggieTales?
Oh, I didn't watch VeggieTales. You're right. See, it pays. It pays. But so VeggieTales, I did have VeggieTales in the repertoire a little bit, but it wasn't as prevalent as we have intended to make things for them at all. Because I started watching Dragon Ball Z and all that stuff, and very young. It was very young, and that was by Discovery, and not necessarily by parental, because I don't think they watched it. I just was scrolling one day, I think, and found it. So, that was when I got a little bit older, but I was like 7, I think, 6 or 7. So there was a lot of stuff, but there's stuff I just leaned to. So I figured it out about her and tried to find shows that kind of depict more, especially if that's why I did Super, because it's more animated about, the miracles and stuff, and it kind of highlights it makes the spiritual realm kind of animated. And so, you just gotta know. Again, it comes with knowing and picking up on and observing, really being observant with your children and figuring out their leanings and all that stuff, and listening to the Father, letting the Spirit of God guide you in real time about how their development is supposed to be. And again, asking the right questions, asking them, it's something. And I didn't necessarily do this per se. Like I said, this kind of just came to me when I realized what was going on. But I probably could have asked, why do you like this so much? Why do you, if she could even answer it, and she might not even answer why. But just, what do you like about this? Why why do you keep doing this? Again, sometimes children don't know, and sometimes it's extra stuff going on in the first place. And you also got to factor in children. More often than not, and I'm gonna park this and we're out. You've got to remember how sensitive you were as a child to atmospheres and just the moods and mood swings and the different things, right? And so when your parents were arguing or something was wrong with somebody, especially if you're very just sensitive, but children in general are kind of spiritually sensitive. So, I mean, you may not, amen. Anyway, you don't necessarily have to be prophetic linear, but just like remember that and how it like felt. You knew it felt weird. You knew something was off. You knew something felt chaotic. XYZ. Children can do that. Like they pick up on that, and when you're not okay and when you're off, they kind of take that and will honestly mirror it. And so your internal chaos becomes their external chaos. And I think that's something that we don't always get taught as parents. And it's definitely, in a lot of cases, not something that we understood as children, and our parents were probably not taught it. But whatever your internal makeup is, because of how children are and sensitivity wise, they will pick up on internal restlessness, chaos, XYZ, and they will pull that thing. Oh, it's almost like they pull it from your soul into like the flesh naturally in them. It's a weird dichotomy. So they start acting up and they start doing extra stuff and they start moving about and around and doing just stupidity, it seems. And you're like, I don't know what the heck is going on. It's like, bro, sis, you are currently in an internal whirlwind, and you are trying to figure out why your child is in an external whirlwind, because you can mask your internal whirlwind, but when they start picking up on the internal whirlwind, they're not masking it that well. And so you gotta be careful. And this is why I'm in and out sometimes with certain realms of discipline, because it's like there have been points where I've known that behavior was directly tied to where she or I wasn't the internal best at a moment. And so I'll be a little soft on the children, or I will fix the atmosphere. And this is what I was talking about on the last video, like actually like navigating the like external atmosphere of the home and stuff like that. So I will fix or set, try to reset an atmosphere. And so y'all about to get this worship instrumental blasting. You hear me? I'm about to be over here, Father God in LAOC. I'm just, I'll at least walk around and do a little bit of praying. It probably won't be loud, but until it resets a little bit, at least until internally I'm reset, and I know that kind of regulates the majority of things, and it can, or it gives me a realm of regulation to actually start physically regulating the situation and making better decisions. Oh, that's on the phone. Okay, I thought it was on the wall, but it's not. That if I try to get it off, I'm going to end the video by accident. So it's by my hat. See? Oh, my finger. And so yeah, that's one of those things again, and that helps build the space as a safe space, because again, you're the safest when you are following after God's pattern, when you're moving in that realm, when you're trusting in Him. And so and that even goes, here's the stupid part, that even goes, it's not just children, that goes for like significant others as well, spouses and things. Again, especially if people are prophetically like leaning or spiritually sensitive, super spiritually sensitive, XYZ, sometimes they will pick up, or you will pick up on what is happening, and it won't be one of those situations where you pick up and like you hear what's happening or you fully know. Sometimes you'll think something's wrong with you, or you'll just be like, something's off, and it'll start making you like antsy or making you off, and or you'll be off, and again, they'll feel it and they won't necessarily know what's going on, and you in a whirlwind, and then you look up and they in a whirlwind, and it's like, because it can be that thing, like if you don't know what's going on. You just don't know what's going on, and so everybody's not always. I don't even always, as bad as that is, but I don't even always like know to immediately. I should, but I don't even know to immediately always. I'd be like, all right, God, what is this? Sometimes I just be like, I don't know, God, I don't know, God, I don't know. And it's just what it is. But here's the caveat to that. You should, no matter what is going on internally, pray, because it's not always you. It's not always you. And you could be picking up onto being able to navigate what's going on internally with your spouse or your child even. Maybe something is going on with them that has nothing to do with you. Maybe they're the enemy attacks children. Y'all, you know that, right? Like the enemy will go after your children. You have to be. Ooh, do I say that? Okay. The enemy goes after children, and so you got to be sure to cover them. For one, you got to pray for them. You got to pray for them. You've got to consistently be in conversation with them until they know the ins and outs of certain things. You got to cover them when they go out, if they're leaving from your presence, going with people, friends, family members, XYZ. Never assume, and I hate to say this and not to make you paranoid or anything, but never assume spiritual safety. Unless you just know. But never assume that any environment or any, even if it's not the direct environment they're going to, maybe they travel somewhere with people and that environment is not safe. You know what I mean? Or they even navigating grocery stores. You gotta, like, the devil plays on the mind, and that he will go after whatever. And he will go after children very heavily. And so, just there was a point if you don't believe in this stuff, you just don't believe in it, and this ain't the channel for you, probably, on these ends. But if the other principles help you, then you can stick by. But this is stuff that kind of happens too. So there was a point where the father had spoken to me about something, because something was going on behaviorally, and I was like, God, what is happening? What is happening? It wasn't normal. And it was some extra stuff going on, and God kept, I was like, what is this? And God was like, it's witchcraft. And there's a spirit that is attach itself to your children. I said, oh, okay. I said, and he's like, they picked it up. So I was like, okay. Let me just, as I prayed, and I mean, it got a little bit, it got better. That particular time, it really did get better. The behavior improved a little bit. And so I was like, oh. I said, well, everything about you is right. Tasha was right. I'm sorry. No. It might be going to but the potty thing isn't in. Uh-oh. Okay, anyways, I almost feel like that's what's happening. And she's half asleep. Because there wasn't a lot of steps. Anyways, but yeah, that happened, and it just happens like that. So you gotta be sure to cover them and be vigilant for stuff and stuff like that. Again, building a safe space for them has everything to do with, again, that's even asking the right questions though. And sometimes asking the right questions is asking the right questions to God, right? And so it literally is, Father, what's going on? Why is this happening? X, Y, Z. Because every time, I don't even know what's wrong with me sometimes. And so her asking me, like, what's going on? What's happening? I don't know right now. I don't have an accurate assessment. I haven't sat down with it. I don't know. And so, that added layer, and sometimes it takes me like being like, okay, what is this? Because I don't know. I don't even know what's wrong. And it can range anything from you let this bother you the other day and didn't deal with it, and it's grown, to you in disobedience, and I'm not letting you do that right now, so you're a little restless because it's me. I was like, oh. So it's a range, it's a spectrum, if you will. And we know about spectrums a little bit over here, so so it just is what it is. And but yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I'll pull in tomorrow about the other thing if I can remember it, and that'll be what we talk about. But I can't remember it right now anyways, because I zoomed past it and I didn't feel like it was for today. And I don't think I actually said it still. Yeah, I didn't. So I'll watch back through it and see what it was. If it's supposed to be talked about. If not, we'll pull into something else. But yeah, this conversation wasn't as rambly as the 30-minute. It wasn't as like, the other one seemed a little disconnected. This one had some cohesiveness to it. You know what? Never mind. You know what? Let another man praise you, not your own lips. That's what I'm pulling to. So if it was cohesive for you, then didn't praise me in the comment. No, for my cohesive. No, for real though. Privilege was helpful though, in any regard. You got anything else? No. Oh, okay. But yeah, that was pretty much just of it. Don't hesitate. This is my real last thing. Don't hesitate to ask. I know that there can be sometimes negative experiences connected to questions, and just asking questions of people, and like actually like checking on people, especially again, if you have maybe a spouse that is not as I don't know, emotionally welcoming. I don't know. Maybe they're more snappy than not.
Emotionally intelligent.
That. Then sometimes, that whole experience of, ouch, of asking, are you good? Are you okay? Why would you ask me that? Why would you, and that is your story. I apologize. and we're praying for you. But because that can be a lot, especially when you actually are trying to be full of care, and genuinely concerned, and pull into actually trying to be there for someone. I don't dispute that. And so sometimes it can be challenging depending on the person. But don't be afraid to ask and keep asking. Honestly, let God lead you. But eventually, if this person is going to come around in that regard, then they'll God will use, because that type of reaction and negative response to genuine care is definitely connected to some type of past experiences, something in the upbringing or something in the history of relationships or something. And so that is something that has to be healed from, and it has to be dealt with. And that, again, deliverance and all that stuff. You got to actually deal with that stuff in some way, shape, or form. And but sometimes the way that you love a person can be helpful to the healing process. And so even if you don't think it means anything, even if they snapped at you a little bit for just asking, and I'm not saying stay in a toxic situation. I mean, if you got married, you got married, and I mean, there are grounds for divorce, but snapping at a partner isn't one of them. So, but you know, even if that is the case, I believe personally, I could be wrong, that your intentionality and your consistency sticks with them. And somewhere in there, because you're safe, somewhere in there it's going to make a difference, right? Somewhere in there that's going to make a difference. Whether you are the husband loving his wife or the wife respecting her husband. Obviously there's love in there too, but somewhere that wall is coming down. We shout, we do the whole nine in churches, you know, the walls are coming down, yeah. Shout, Jericho walls. You know, we do the nine. And we talk about walls coming down, but some of the walls that need to come down have nothing to do with finances. They have nothing to do with enemies. They have nothing to do with obstacles per se in the natural or, you know, relational, in that particular sense, obstacles. They have to do with internal walls. And if we're going to take anything from the walls of Jericho and all that stuff, you see that there was a realm of obedience that merited a consistency. Glory to God. And at the end of that consistency and the following of instructions, walls broke down. They came on tumbling. So my prophetic advice, if you will take it as that, or just spiritual advice, whatever, you might not like prophetic, but I am who I am by the grace of God person. But my prophetic advice would be stay consistent and work with them. You married them. You understood they were a case when you married them, probably. So they're going to be a case. You keep going and do it the way God said do it. Let him lead you in this particular instance. Now, you know, he didn't really, you know, I just kind of decided, well, he will still lead you how to relate healthily. Here it is. You can do the whole nine that maybe you fall in the bed, you got married, and you're married now. And even in that, just being in a relationship with the person, what? Even in that, just being in a relationship, what? Just being, what's happening? Just being in a relationship with the person, what is going on? Just being in a relationship with the person merits a realm of hearing the voice of God to healthily relate to the person and to be of assistance to the person and to be a representative of God's, what is happening? A representative of God's heart to that person. What is going on? And so, you know, we can do the whole thing because, you know, people be like, well, maybe I just married the wrong person. If you did, you did. And that just is what it is. But that's so bad. I shouldn't say it like that. But at the end of the day, God is still going to make, like, he's going to have you throw people away. And the relationship can still bring a realm of healing to a person. And I'm not saying you married the wrong person. You may have just did things weird, whatever the case may be. God, again, the point is to relate it to them the way God tells you to, and to deal with them the way God tells you to, and to be consistent in your love for them the way God tells you to, because love is not a marital thing. Love is a Christian thing. It's really a human thing. But if you want to love correctly, you can't just do it by being a human. You have to do it by being a human that is led by the one who is love. Glory to God. And so, why she just had that spell. I don't know what the fit was about just now. I don't know what I did. I don't know what was said. I don't know what happened. But that's my admonishment. All right, that is my admonishment there, and I believe that piece to be from the Father. That wasn't just simply whatever. I do believe that to be something that that God kind of threw in there and let me to say. So take heed to that. Take heed to that, please, if that is you. I understand it's hard. I understand they're hard to navigate through. I understand. Don't give up on them so quick. Sometimes, again, hard cases are sometimes won by consistency. And now if they choose to call it quits and walk out and do all the foolishness, then you let them. Praise God. You know, you after you done all you can, just stand. And if you stand and they walk away, then if God tell you to wait for them, wait for them. God tell you to reach out to them every so often, reach out to them. But if whatever. But right now, your job, especially considering both of you are still in the thing and want to do it, and it's just a little hectic, whatever the case may be. I'm not saying the abusive side of things. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just kind of, it's rough. Just stick with them. Stick with them, and you yourself address personal things that could be also contributing to the extraness of everything. Maybe your responses aren't the most well thought out or the wisest. Maybe your responses are a little cutthroat. You know what I mean? Maybe you can be a little harsh. There's always room for self-assessment, asking the right questions of yourself. So, yeah. I'll ask you afterwards. So these are questions that need answers. That's gonna be the title. Questions that need. No, I don't know. I might do it. If y'all see it, it's what I did. But questions that need. It's some. I don't know. Ask her. We'll figure it out. But all in all, thank you for watching the video. We will see you on the flip side on the next one. And I keep wanting to do the other one for the music channel until next time. Stay inspired. I want to do it, but I gotta find something for this one so I don't keep doing that. Until next time, stay Cub Nation. Okay. That's all, folks. I don't have anything else. I'm gonna hit this red button before I ramble for another 4 minutes, because I can see that 1 hour and 17 minutes in view right now. So, you sure you gotta? Yeah. Okay. Just don't want to quit. I'm just excited. I'm glad to be talking to you on the other side of the screen. I'm glad you can see and hear and feel and touch and do the things and feel the glory of God. If you're in need of anything, prayer, XYZ, what? I don't know. Again, comment. I don't know how the little new direct messaging thing works in YouTube, so I don't think you can just instantly do that. I think it has to be something. It's something else that you have to do. So I don't know how it works anymore, or I don't know how it works yet. Not anymore, but yet. So I guess if you can DM the channel, then do that. You can send us a DM and just say pray. You can also visit, if you need prayer, you can visit our Instagram page. It's literally How Not to Marriage. So you can visit, it's an Instagram page that I made years ago. that's tied to some of the stuff we talk about here, basically. And so it'll be a little more active in the coming days too. But you can find that Instagram page on Instagram, because it's an Instagram page, and that's at How Not to Marriage. And so if you need to, if you don't want to put a specific prayer request in here, you want us to know it so we can pray, or discuss anything, then please find us over there. I will link that down below in the description. You will be able to get to that particular Instagram page. Other than that, I think that's it. That was the last thing I really wanted to say, I think, in that regard. So please like, share, subscribe, if you so desire, if it is so helpful and you feel it is needful for other people to find out about it. Then like it to put it in the algorithm a little bit, share it to put it directly in somebody's face, and subscribe to get these numbers up a little bit. So we can think we official. No. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We are so appreciative of all those who watch, who like, who have subscribed so far. We got a few new subscribers the other day, and so that was cool. Had a few people through. I don't know if they came through the YouTube short or whatever, but whoever's new, hi. And if you're new and we know you, what's up, fam? But yeah, we're just grateful that you watch, that you we're grateful that you watch, and that you interact in whatever way you interact with it. And yeah, you don't have to sit through these videos. And so if you do and you manage to make it through the whole of it, then you just know we appreciate you. If you make it through half of it, we appreciate you. A couple of 10 minutes, I think it still counts for some type of watch time. So we're grateful. And if it's helping you, that's the main thing. That's why we do this, because God instructed us to. So yeah, until next time, we'll see you on the flip side. I told you I saw that 117. I wasn't playing. I'm out. I think she out. She might want to talk to y'all. No. Okay, bye. Y'all know.